Hello, students. In this lesson, we want to talk about a redox reaction. Let's start by defining redox reaction. From the word redox, we have two words, reduction and oxidation. So a redox reaction is defined as a reaction whereby one component is reduced while the other component is oxidized. So a reaction where one component is reduced and the other component is oxidized. And that brings us to the next question. What is oxidation? And what is reduction? Let's start by defining oxidation. Scientists have defined oxidation in three different ways. One of the ways that you first learned was with reference to oxygen. So the first definition of oxidation that you studied was with reference to oxygen. And you said that oxidation is gain of oxygen. I want to write oxygen atom because a substance can gain one oxygen atom, two oxygen atoms, three oxygen atoms, and so on. A simple example could be when you burn magnesium in oxygen and it burns with a beautiful white flame to form magnesium oxide. And from your chemistry, I know you can balance this easily by saying we take 2 here and 2 there so that our equation is balanced. So in this reaction, we say that magnesium has been oxidized because it has gained oxygen. You can also use an example like carbon. When you are burning coal, which is a major source of energy, coal combines with oxygen to form carbon dioxide. This is a common reaction which is used to produce heat. If you want, the equation is already balanced, so we can say that carbon has been oxidized to carbon dioxide. This is oxidized. Therefore, oxygen is the oxidizing agent. It is giving oxygen atoms to carbon. What about the second definition? The second definition of oxidation is with reference to hydrogen. In this case, we define oxidation as loss of hydrogen atom. If a compound during its reaction it loses hydrogen, we say that it has been oxidized. A simple example would be a situation where you have maybe an alcohol. Let's take the simplest alcohol is methanol. It's methanol being oxidized to form methanol, CH2CO. This is methanol, an alcohol, and that is methanol. In this reaction, there is loss of 2 hydrogen atoms, and therefore this is an oxidation reaction because methanol has lost hydrogen atoms. The third definition, which we will be most interested in today and in the few lessons to come, is the third definition is in terms of electrons. And when we define in terms of electrons, we define oxidation as loss of electrons. And this is quite easy when you think about metals. Metals always react to form positively charged ions, and in the process they lose electrons. For example, if we have say sodium metal, which is a very reactive metal we all know, and reacts by forming a positively charged ion, and during this reaction sodium atom is unstable and loses one electron, we can put the electron on this side. So sodium has been oxidized to form sodium ion. Beautiful. Now, let's do a summary of the definitions of oxidation and reduction. You can combine the two because now we know how to define oxidation. So we said if we have oxidation and we have reduction on this side, and we can say, let's now define them. In terms of oxygen, we say oxidation is gain of oxygen. What would be reduction? The opposite is true. Reduction would be the loss of oxygen. What about in terms of hydrogen? We have said that oxidation is loss of hydrogen, and therefore reduction would be gain of hydrogen. And for our interest today, we can talk about in terms of electrons. We say oxidation is loss of electrons, and reduction would therefore be gain of electrons. There's a term which we use, we say oil rig. Oil rig. We can say oil rig, where you say oxidation is loss of electrons, while reduction is gain of electrons. This is always an easy way to remember the definitions of oxidation and reduction in terms of electrons.